Okay, a second. Okay, I've discovered something fascinating about the new Sony A9. I should have noticed it before. I have Dan here on the phone. He's one of a few people that contacted me. Hello, Dan. You're on the video. Go ahead.
Hi, Ken. Well, me and a few other photographers, we discovered that there are some banding issues with the Sony A9. I went down to the local ballpark to photograph my son and his friends, and the lights were on at the local park, and we found that there was a lot of banding issues with the Sony A9.
But the important thing is that what you and others have told me about the multiple setups, and we're not going to reveal it in this video, but in the next one, what Sony did in the multiple setups of the people that were given the test camera and the A9, there's something incredibly important, and you revealed that to me.
Yeah, it was like set up so you really couldn't take any bad photos with that electronic shutter. I mean, they had really good lights, and they had a lot I mean, those arenas had huge windows with natural light, so you wouldn't get the banding issue. But what I'm afraid of is people who are going to buy this camera who are new into photography are going to go to local ballparks late at night with the lights on, high school football games, gyms, school gyms, small colleges that have bad lighting. They're going to run into a lot of banding issues. Maybe sometimes you may not get it at one school, but the other school, depending on the lights, it's just a camera that I would not trust.
Well, I might as well reveal it in this video. I've contacted, 3 people contacted me. Max Yurtiev was not one, but he actually took the A9 camera in his video out of the staged setups that Sony did and was talking about the serious banding issues on the Sony, because it's using electronic shutter. And we're talking about frequencies that are going to interfere with the electronic shutter, but the 5 different scenarios that Sony set up, which was a pommel horse, pole vaulting, a boxing ring, had major daylight balanced LED setups. The pommel horse had huge LED ray setups. The indoor hockey ring had huge daylight windows letting in daylight in, and also the ice skating ring. There are 5 different scenarios where Sony were letting people take test shots with the cameras, but all of these test shot scenes where they're doing the boxing and the ice skating and whatnot, were in unnatural, not real-world situations where you have all these funky, fluorescent and, other really bad lighting that causes banding issues with electronic shutter. So these were not real-world things, and thanks to you, because you're one of 3 people that contacted me about this.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say that you are in a good situation and you're photographing an NFL game or something, and even if it's a bright sunny day, and you're shooting an electronic shutter, but let's say the team goes into the locker room, you're back into really bad lighting where you're going to run into that banding issue, and you better remember if you use that electronic shutter to switch it off. And sometimes when you're working really fast, sometimes you may forget to turn it off, and that's why. I'm sticking with my Canon 1D too. I know you're a Nikon guy, but I'm a Canon guy. I hope we can be friends.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Just joking. But I'm not giving up my Canon 1D2 for my professional work, and I don't think any Nikon professional. Some of my friends, they have Nikon D5. They're not going to give up those cameras as well.
I should have noticed it before, and it was so obvious. I watched the top 5 YouTube videos after you and 2 others contacted me, and I noticed, hey, all these different scenarios in different locations, the boxing, the pommel horse, the pole vaulting, the ice skating, the hockey, and the track and field, where the people were given, they say, here's the scenario, here, take the A9 and start taking test shots of the box. They were all heavily staged, and I don't mean heavily staged by the actors they paid to be there, that's obvious, but the scenarios where they were placed to use that electronic shutter and high buffer rate were heavily staged as far as the lighting. Heavily staged, because if you go to a boxing ring, you won't see huge LEDs, circling a boxing ring. You're going to see really crappy fluorescent and awful mixed bizarre frequency lighting that would, so that means that these scenes were heavily staged.
Yeah, I mean, in some scenarios you may see good lighting if it's like for HBO, it's our pay-per-view fighting for broadcast television. But there's tons and tons of local, rings where people are training to be boxers, and that's going to be bad lighting. And a lot of people who are looking to build their portfolio, that's where they're going to go, is to these local gyms where there are lots of bad lighting, and they're going to run into the banding issue. Even with broadcast television and stuff, there's still probably a chance you could run into bad lighting. It's just not fully tested. You got to keep in mind they had those arenas where they had a lot of natural light coming in.
I appreciate all your time today, and I know you have to run because you're a really busy person. You have a photo shoot to get to, and I appreciate you contacting me about this, and I wanted to say thanks to you.
Okay, well, I'd like to say thank you for letting me voice my opinion, and I hope people are really thinking about buying this camera, because I don't want to see people screwing up their portfolios, especially if they're starting out.
Thank you so much. Having a wonderful day. Thank you.
Take it easy, Ken. Bye.
I should have noticed this. So took 3 people to contact me and say, hey, look at all the videos that Sony gave people the A9 to. And I made a list. Boxing ring, a skating ring, the skating rink, the pommel horse, the field and track, there were 5 or 6 different things. Yeah, the pommel horse, the field and track, the boxing ring, the hockey rink. All of these things were not natural, because when you're in those scenarios, especially a lot of the hockey stuff, they don't have huge windows. I mean, they were under fluorescent and incandescent lighting. So these were heavily staged as far as the lighting that the cameras were presented. And so that is really, really important. I should have noticed that, but 3 people contacted me. Max Yuriev is not someone that contacted me, but he took the camera outside of where Sony had intended, for him to shoot, and he's like, hey, there's banding issue. Of course, electronic shutter, you got funky lighting, you're going to have banding issues. So, I noticed something. I wasn't even there. The people that are giving these cameras, they went on location, but I wasn't there, but I was able to determine something really, really important from those 5 videos. One of them was a certain team, a YouTube team. Another one was Kai's video where it's like, all these guys are shooting in situations where if you're an everyday shooter and you went down to the pommel horse or the hockey ring, the lighting was very, very heavily staged to benefit the lack of capabilities of an electronic shutter under typical real-world incandescent and fluorescent lighting, which causes issues with electronic shutters. So, I wasn't the first to see this, but I'm the first person to report it, and the facts are undeniable. You can take a look at all those videos and notice the lighting. It is not real-world lighting, and that is hardcore and undeniable. You can call me a basher all you want, but the facts are the facts are the facts are the facts. Thank you so much. Bye.